Hey everybody, Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby. Today we're going to do update 81. And today is all going to be done off of the shaky cam. I just don't feel like getting the tripod out, setting it all up, and then undoing and everything. And we have a lot of things, I have a lot of things to cover today that aren't necessarily train related. So if you don't want to watch this, I would suggest stopping now. If you want to muddle through the things that I'm going to tell you today, then continue to watch, and I'll show you several different things that I've been doing lately as opposed to working on the train layout. But anyway, let's get started. The good news is not 1 ounce of it is going to be politics. You're welcome. Okay, you guys know these two critters, I believe. This is Lisa, and of course you've seen the Tundra, and you've seen the Lincoln. I took Lisa to my first car show a week ago today, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her. Okay, so Lisa and I went to our first car show, and there was about 60 or 65, maybe 75 cars there. I don't really know. Quite a few for our little tiny area here. And lo and behold, I got a second place trophy for... The show was for the Wounded Warrior program. And second place, 2020, Muscle Car 75 to 2020. In that category, that's where they stuck me, and we had about 7 or 8 cars that fell in that category, and the rest of them were all hot rods and other types of vehicles. But I felt lucky that I got anything at all, because you all know that she is a salvage title car, and she's not perfect. But anyway, that's one thing. Now I'll tell you about the other. Okay, last Sunday when I got the trophy, got a little sunburned, everybody had a good time, came home, went out to get some takeout dinner and bring home, and on the way back home, I goosed the car a little bit and the clutch exploded. So I was able to jam it in gear and drive all the way home in second gear, made the 2 stoplights that I had to supposedly stop at without having to stop because they were green. I just happened to time it right, got it back home in the driveway, and one thing led to another, wound up ordering a clutch, and I won't go into all of the wherewithals it took me to do the clutch job on this car, but I was able to get it up in the air high enough that I, by myself and with a slight bit of help from my neighbor next door, was able to get the transmission out and a new clutch put in. What I will tell you about it is I started out thinking it was just like the old days. You pull the transmission out, you leave the bell housing on there, and then you pull the bell housing out in separate pieces. Then you replace the clutch, you put it back, you adjust the clutch, and off you go. On the Mustangs, the new Mustangs, newer Mustangs, the bell housing and transmission are bolted together from the inside of the bell housing, which means you have to take them all off in one piece. It required removing an enormous amount of parts and everything. And just briefly, there was a bolt on the top of the bell housing that was being very, very stubborn. My neighbor came over to help me. We wound up rounding the head and breaking a socket on. And I thought, oh crap, if I can't get that out of there, I'm screwed, because I had everything else torn apart. Anyway, we wound up being able to finally jockey it out with a 1/2-inch socket rather than a 13 millimeter. We beat the socket on there and was able to finally get it out. That was a good thing. After that, it was just putting the new clutch in, getting the flywheel surface and all that stuff, put it back in and everything. Did most of that by myself. My neighbor came over and helped me put the exhaust system back up. Aside from that, it was kind of cut and dried once I got it apart. It went back together way easier than it came apart. There was a lot of other things involved. I lost a small clip that held the hydraulic line onto the hydraulic throwout bearing. Ford does not sell that clip. They want to sell you a whole hose. A clip on eBay is $23. If you can imagine a little almost C-clip looking thing being $23, but they got you. They know that if you lose it, you're screwed. I finally found it over by Robin's car on the ground. I happened to see it in the right light after searching for about 4 hours. Anyways, got that back together. Then it's quite a job to bleed the clutch line. Anyway, that's enough of that. The clutch went out, got the clutch back in, got the clutch bled. The car is back in functioning order. Now let me tell you what else happened in that aftermath. Okay, in that aftermath of going and trying to round up parts for the Mustang, I hopped in the Tundra to go try and look for the small clip and a bolt, the bolt that we rounded the head off on. I was not able to find the bolt. Ford does not sell a bolt. No parts places have a bolt that is like that. Anyways, and the clip was a whole nother matter. The closest ones I could find to the United States were in Latvia. It's the same part as a Volkswagen. Volkswagens don't carry the part. Anyway, long story. But when I hopped in the Tundra to go looking for parts, I happened to glance down. Truck started right up, took off. Happened to look down to notice that I had no speedometer, I had no tachometer, I had no oil pressure sensor, I had an ABS light on, I had a traction control light on, I had an airbag light on, all this crap, but the truck's still running, and I knew I had oil pressure. So anyways, I stopped at the Toyota dealer. They looked at it for about 15 minutes, and it's going to require some relatively extensive wiring looking or sensor looking. I guess a sensor can cause that, apparently any sensor. But I'm going to take it in. I don't really feel like doing a bunch of electrical work on the truck. So anyway, and then to top that off, the check engine light came on the Lincoln again. And this is the third time that the check engine light has come on. They have replaced a oxygen sensor twice. And so we're going to take that in. Now let's get on to the rest of everything. Okay, here we are back in the train room. I'm just going to show you this train moving for right now. And I know you have probably maybe some questions if you've seen what is on there that's new. But I'm going to turn around and show you something else that you may or may not be interested in. This whole video is going to be stuff you may not be interested in. But anyways, I'm going to turn around and show you something I just recently bought also. Okay, what I wanted to show you is that guy right there. As you guys know, I bought the Henry up there. And ever since I was a little kid and engrossed with the lever action rifles and watching all the old cowboy movies, I always wanted a double barrel shotgun. I happened to have one of the club guys had a flat tire at the gun shop that's on the way to the fairgrounds, and he called me and told me he wasn't going to the fairgrounds, but he had some parts that he wanted me to take out to the club. So I stopped there, and I'm familiar with these guys, but I stopped there and got the stuff from him. Then I decided to walk in and say hi to Paul, the guy that owns the gun store, and lo and behold, this was hanging on the wall. We haggled about the price. I told him it was too much. I went away, and then about 2 or 3 weeks later, he had told me to come back. It was a consignment item. He told me to come back, see if the guy would take less if it sat there for a long time. So it had sat there. I went back about 3 weeks later. Maybe it was 4 weeks later. I'm not sure. And it was still there, and he wanted still over what I wanted to pay for it. We wound up haggling over it, and I wound up buying it. I will give you a brief history of the gun. It's a double barrel shotgun. It's obviously cut off. It is legal length. They did shoot it. It's a 12 gauge. They did shoot it. It is made in New York. by Baker Gun Company. I don't know if I can get in on that. It's too close. Anyway, it's made by a company called Baker Guns. Baker Guns, Baker, Old Man Baker, they made guns from about the 1867 maybe, until he died in 1930. I did some investigating on the serial number on this gun, and the serial number would appear to date it around 1917 to 1919 manufacture date. It does have some wear on it, but I didn't really care. I just bought it because every cowboy movie I watched, they had one of these on the stagecoach. Anyway, that's the story on that. I just wanted it. I don't know if I'll ever even shoot it. I know it has been shot, and I know it's capable of shooting. I just wanted it. So, that's another thing. Now let's move on to some more train stuff. Okay, what I will tell you is, this is what I have recently purchased. And it is the ABA set of yellow bonnet Katos with in the freight paint, and really the only difference between the first series of yellow bonnets and this edition of the yellow bonnets is the fact that the trucks and fuel tank is all black, the pilot is blue, and the backs of the locomotives are blue. They run just like any Kato. They run flawlessly, and I'm glad to have them. And I'm not sure if I'm going to sell my yellow bonnets, my other passenger yellow bonnets or not. I think I may just keep them. I have the blue bonnets, the yellow bonnets, and I have the yellow bonnet freights. There's no sense in breaking up a set of triplets. So I don't know if I will or not. I told Robin I probably would, but she doesn't care if I do, so I probably may not. But I don't really run them very much, and these have already gotten run a significant amount. I ran them at the club for hours. I have run them on the layout here for hours, and that is one thing I have been doing as opposed to working on the layout. I have been coming out here and running the train. That being said, I'm going to show you one more thing that is not train related, and then we'll move on to the work that I have been doing on the layout, per se. Okay, two other things that I've gotten that I just want to fill you guys on, because some of you are into plastic models, is they just reintroduced this 32 Chrysler from the Gangbuster series. I got that. And then I saw a review of this Revell Land Rover. And I've kind of always liked the Land Rovers back in the day, and this old style design, or old school design, I should say. In fact, I have a Heller, a 143rd Heller one. It's upside down right there. But anyway, I have a small one there, and I have this new Series 3 one. And I saw a review on the kit, and it's just extremely well done, in the same spirit and fashion as the Bullet Mustang was, and that was a very enjoyable kit to put together. So I have those two new kits. I think you guys saw the little Bronco there. I think I pointed that out to you. Nothing else going on in here as far as models, and now I promise you, I promise, I'm going to get to the model trains. Okay, everybody. Now, finally, to the trains. You guys have seen the plastering and everything that I have gotten done here, but I did break out the few remaining buildings I have from the previous layout, one of them being the car lot over here, which I really like, the bus depot over there, which is facing the wrong direction, the McDonald's, and the building backs that I had on the old layout. I think the building backs are probably going to go in there somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where. I'm going to shuffle these buildings around and stuff and see where they make sense. Where the McDonald's is sitting and the sign of the used car lot and this bridge here, which I'll get into in a minute, we've already discussed that that's going to be a stockyard. siding there. And that's definitely going in, which I don't have anything constructed yet. But anyway, I'm just setting these buildings out here to see what looks right. Now, to get to what I have done and the decisions I have made, as you see, I now have these buildings all finished and weathered and all the lighting is in. I have not cut the holes underneath them to get the lighting over here and hooked up, as I had said. I am also thinking about leaving this here, even though it's a fuel depot. I may turn it into just some kind of chemical depot, since this is a fertilizer business. I like the look of it there. So instead of fuel, it may be for some other chemicals. And I may paint the tanks silver or something of that nature. Not sure, but I just like the look of it there. This little building I pulled out from the shed, I think I may use it in here somewhere. It's a different shade of green. I don't know where it's going to go. I like the look of this building here or somewhere in here, because the trucks could go through here, make a loop out there, come back and come through the building over here, and once again leave, and wherever I decide to put a road across here. This building is basically would be a storage building, and I just don't know where to put it, but it can go there somewhere. I'm just not sure, like I say, exactly where. And it's not the same color green, but that's a stuccoed building as opposed to all the wooden buildings, which have been, for the most part, recently within the last 20 years painted. I think that the building layout there looks real good. I like it. I wound up putting a couple of pieces on these buildings that you may not see. There's a pipe coming out of the ground there on that building over there. That would be to be able to take merchandise dropped through the track into that building. There is also a couple of grates that will go in this track, and one grate will have a pipe going to this elevator, which I think I've mentioned before. So I've got this thing on the way to having something done, but due to all the car malfunctions and so forth, I have not had time to get out here. Plus a little bit of a lack of interest. I spent 2 days cleaning the car for the show. But anyways, that is what it is. I would really, really, really like to put the car lot over here, but it just doesn't look like it belongs here. I don't know. I would hope maybe you guys have some suggestions, but I really would like to get the car lot out here because I really like it. The bus depot, I am not sure about. I was thinking maybe moving these buildings down that way as far as I possibly could, and then putting the bus depot over here on this end. I don't know what to do with the McDonald's. I have a feeling that it may not be able to be out here again. It wouldn't be appropriate near the stockyards, and it probably wouldn't be appropriate on a back street. I don't know if it would or would not, but I will think about that some, and we'll get back to that. But that's really all that's going on out here. I had given some consideration to putting this, putting this bridge over this opening. And then taking it off just to the edge of the layout over here. I don't know how that would look. It would give this some kind of a structured look over here. I would have to raise that abutment up. I just don't know what I'm going to do. But I think it would kind of hide that opening somewhat, and then kind of carry the scenery off to the edge of the layout here. I'm not putting any scenery in here, down here, period. So even if I ended the bridge over here, it would not hurt my feelings. It is what it is. I still haven't come up with a good idea over here, over this opening over here. I did have a suggestion to put some steam pipes up and over. If I had some kind of a power plant over here, or moved the power plant over here, I could put steam pipes up and over, down and over into the building. I just don't know if I want to do that. I think a signal bridge would actually look better with some trees, but it is a good thought. So honestly, that's the limited amount of anything train related I have done. I know it's very disappointing, but it is what it is, and I think I'll just spend the rest of the time here just taking a little bit of the train going around. Okay, everybody. I'm glad you watched the video today. You saw a bunch of stuff you may not have wanted to see and so forth, but it is what it is, and it's the things that are keeping me busy lately and the things that are going to be keeping me busy. But anyway, what do I always say? Thanks for watching.